On this week's episode of the Rambler Sports Locker, men's volleyball knocks off two ranked opponents, and Michael Faso and his Ramble analysts debate the future success of the country's newest football league.
Also, men's basketball rebounds after a tough loss, and RSL reporter Ioanna Kekatos pays tribute to Black History Month.
Welcome back to this week's episode of the Rambler Sports Locker. I'm Adam Klepp.
And I'm Eric Moran. On Sunday, February 17th, the Loyola Ramblers hosted the Missouri State Bears in a critical Missouri Valley Conference matchup. The Bears got off to a hot start, hitting their first 5 field goal attempts, but fortunately, the Ramblers were able to rally back towards the end of the first half and be within only 1 point with the score 26-25 in favor of the Bears. In the second half, the Ramblers and Bears went back and forth with each team having big scoring runs. But during the final minutes of the game, the Ramblers missed some key game-tying free throws, falling by a final score of 65-61. Sophomore center Cameron Krutwig and his redshirt senior guard Marcus Towns each had monster games in the loss, scoring 24 and 23 points respectively. After the loss, the Ramblers hosted the Evansville Purple Aces on February 20th. With more on that game, is reporter Tim Edmonds, who witnessed the action.
I'm reporting live here from Gentile Arena. The men's basketball team just picked up a 70-58 victory over the Evansville Purple Aces. The Ramblers were led by Marcus Towns in the victory, who recorded 21 points, 17 in the first half. He also snagged 6 rebounds in the victory. The Ramblers were also led by center Cameron Krutwig, who recorded 18 points. The Ramblers were up 43-28 after the first half and went 7 for 10 from three-point range. The Ramblers season continues as they take on SIU in Carbondale this Saturday. The Ramblers maintained their first-place ranking in the MVC and kept pace with the Drake Bulldogs, who won yesterday against Bradley. I'm Tim Edmonds reporting live here. Back to you guys at the desk.
The Ramblers next play on February 27th at Northern Iowa.
The women's basketball team has picked up 2 straight road wins against Missouri Valley Conference foes, Indiana State and Evansville. Sophomore Abby O'Connor led the team in scoring in both contests. She scored 17 points against the Sycamores on Friday the 15th and 22 against the Aces on February 17th. The first game was a historic one for the Ramblers, as it was the first win in program history at Indiana State. The Ramblers were down 2 with just under 4 minutes to go, but they ended the game on a 10-0 run to come out on top 44-36 in a defensive battle. Points were much easier to come by at Evansville. The Ramblers put up an impressive 71 points in a team effort that saw 10 different players get on the scoreboard. The Ramblers won by an impressive margin of 20 points. The team is now in 6th place in the Missouri Valley Conference. They open up their final homestand February 22nd against Southern Illinois.
The track and field team headed to South Bend, Indiana to participate in the Alex Wilson Invitational to wrap up the regular season portion of their indoor track schedule. Redshirt senior Kevin White made his 800-meter run season debut, finishing 4th and recording a personal best of 1 minute and 48.53 seconds. This run is currently the Missouri Valley Conference's top 800-meter run so far this season. The Ramblers will shift their focus to the 2019 Missouri Valley Conference Indoor Track and Field Championship on February 23rd through the 24th. Sophomore Kenny Wallace also recorded his personal best in the 3,000-meter run, finishing in 8 minutes and 38.65 seconds. After the impressive showing at the Alex Wilson Invitational, redshirt senior Kevin White received MVC Male Track Athlete of the Week.
In honor of Black History Month, RSL reporter Ioanna Kekatos ranked the top 3 most prominent black athletes in sports history.
February is Black History Month, so today RSL is paying tribute to the best African American athletes to ever have competed. While we wish we had time to cover them all, today we are bringing you our top 3. Number 3 is Serena Williams. William won the 2017 Australian Open and made history with her 23rd Grand Slam title in the 50-year history of the Open era. And if you aren't blown away with that, she played the entire tournament while being 2 months pregnant. Crazy, right? She's established herself as the greatest female athlete in the world. Number 2 is Jackie Robinson. Robinson broke the Major League Baseball color barrier in 1947. Robinson was the only UCLA athlete to ever play baseball, basketball, football, and even track. If someone could do it all, it was definitely him. He was Rookie of the Year in 1947, a 6-time All-Star, and a 2-time season leader in stolen bases. But he didn't just break barriers in baseball. He became the first black vice president of a major American corporation when he worked at a coffee company from 1957 to 1964. His legacy will be everlasting. And number 1 is Michael Jordan. He was born in Brooklyn, New York, and you can't deny he is and will always be the greatest all-around player in basketball. He was drafted by the Bulls in 1984 and was named Rookie of the Year during his first season. He was named MVP 5 times and also named Defensive Player of the Year in 1988. He led the Bulls to 6 championships. Yes, you heard right, 6. From 1996 to 1998, he led the Bulls to 3 consecutive championship wins, and he was named MVP of the NBA Finals in all 6 championship wins. It was a sad day for Chicagoans when Jordan retired, but he made history with his outstanding career. That's it for this week's Top 3. I'm Ioanna Kekatos, back to you at the desk.
The men's volleyball team got 2 impressive 3-1 victories against ranked opponents at Gentile Arena on February 15th and 16th. The first team to go down was 15th ranked Purdue Fort Wayne on February 15th. The Mastodons took the first set of the night on Friday, but the Ramblers put on a block party as they took the next 3 sets to win the match behind 10 total team blocks. 3 Ramblers also got double-digit kills in the game, led by Colin Mahan's 15. Number 12 Ball State suffered the same fate the following night, February 17th, winning the first set before dropping the next 3 to the Ramblers. The Ramblers went on a few impressive runs over the course of the game and were led by Colin Mahan's 20 kills. For the 100th straight release of the American Volleyball Coaches Association poll on February 19th, the Ramblers were ranked in the top 15, earning the 7th spot. The Ramblers will play at McKendree on February 21st.
On February 15th, the women's softball team began play at the Runnin' Bulldogs softball tournament in Boiling Springs, North Carolina. The Ramblers started the tournament facing off against the Oakland University Golden Grizzlies. The Ramblers dominated the Golden Grizzlies through 5 innings, winning by a score of 10-0. Senior pitcher Keenan Dolezal was credited with the win and shutout, allowing just 4 hits over 5 innings. Later in the day, the Ramblers took on the Gardner-Webb Runnin' Bulldogs. The Ramblers carried on with their winning ways, dominating from the batter's box and the pitcher's mound, cruising to victory 14-0. Sophomore Allison Ivy collected 4 hits and 3 RBIs in the winning effort. The 14 runs were the most the program has scored in their young season. On February 16th, the Ramblers looked to keep things rolling against the Sacred Heart University Pioneers. The Ramblers did just that with another convincing victory by a score of 7-2. Senior pitcher Kylie Jones picked up her 2nd victory of the season, while junior outfielder Jessica Shields had an impressive offensive showing with 3 hits and 1 RBI. The Ramblers then took on the University of Hartford Hawks. The Ramblers' offense took off in the 3rd inning, with the Ramblers recording 5 runs. They continued with their offensive production, winning 8-0. The victory propelled the Ramblers to a 9-0 record. The February 17th rematch game scheduled between the Ramblers and Oakland University Golden Grizzlies was canceled due to inclement weather. The Ramblers will next head to Macon, Georgia to participate in the Mercer Tournament play, which starts on February 22nd.
The Alliance of American Football inaugural season kicked off earlier this February.
Michael Faso and his Ramble analysts debate if the league can last in this week's Ramble.
Welcome to this week's Ramble. I'm Michael Faso, This week we'll be debating whether or not the new football league, the Alliance of American Football, is sustainable. With me are Ramble analysts Blaise Radosevich and Kelsey Frew. We'll start with you, Kelsey. What do you think?
I have to say that the Alliance will last. It seems like a great complement to the NFL, and this is a great opportunity for fans who don't have an NFL team to root for to get a fan base of their own.
Okay, what do you think, Blaise?
I have to disagree with that. Past Tier 2 football leagues haven't worked. The XFL in the early 2000s, the USFL, which Donald Trump was in the 80s. There's plenty of examples why, especially spring football, just doesn't work because spring is not a football season. Football season is the fall. Spring is for March Madness, the NBA playoffs, and once those come in March and April, then I think the AAF, the Alliance, is going to have less viewers than they've had, and it's already been low the first 2 weeks of the league.
But it's also the first 2 weeks of the league. You can't expect them to have a huge audience before they've even really gotten going.
Well, on that point, the first week of the XFL, which was in 2001, they had a rating of 9.5, and that's crazy for an opening week. The AAF only had 3.1, and then that number continually declined throughout the whole season, and then they didn't have a league by the end of the season.
See, the XFL, though, isn't a great example of good spring football because the XFL was focused on the cheerleaders, and that's what everyone had a problem with. If they're focusing on football, that's what people are coming to watch, and that's what people are coming to get with the AAF.
No matter what, though, the quality of play is just not to the level of even college football or the NFL so far.
It doesn't have to be.
All right, Kelsey, let me jump in. Let me ask you a question. So the AFF had to get $250 million to make payroll, and they just started off. So do you think this 9-figure investment already is a dangerous step for this new league?
I think you have to make investment. It's an investment. Like it always is. So you have to put in the money to get something out. And the AAF has big backers. They have like a Vegas powerhouse is backing them. I think it's MGM Resorts International. Like they're a huge company giving them money. And the money that's going into the AAF is nothing compared to what the NFL is requiring.
My whole thing, though, is if this guy, this owner of I think his name's Tom Dundon, he comes in with $250 million, and the report, The Athletic, said that the league would have folded if they didn't get this $250 million because they couldn't even meet payroll. So if the league's already having these issues in their second week, that's screaming to me that they can't, work in the long term.
They haven't had the chance to make it back, though. You also have, the AAF is more tech savvy than pretty much any sports league that we have right now. And as the U.S. is beginning to legalize sports betting, that's where the AAF is going to see their money. That's why Vegas is investing in them. You're going to see more money coming in from the viewers.
Only a 3.1 rating in their first week, and that's before we have March Madness and the NBA playoffs starting in a couple weeks. So long term, I don't think it's going to work.
Well, you both make great points, so we have to wrap it up. But I'm going to say that the winner this week is Kelsey. So congratulations on that. So let us know which side you are on by voting in our Twitter poll at Loyola RSL. Or you can call us on this phone. Actually, don't call us because it doesn't work. But that's it for this week's Ramble. I'm your host, Michael Faso. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Michael. I think this league will stick around because you don't automatically get flagged for hitting the quarterback.
Yeah, I will admit the first couple of weeks of football were really intriguing, so it'll be pretty interesting to see if they can keep this up. For our full episodes and the chance to get in on the conversation, follow and like our social media handles for an up-to-date look at all things Rambler Sports.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Adam Klepp.
And I'm Eric Moran. Check back next week for another episode of the Rambler Sports Locker.
And as always, don't forget to turn off the lights.